Can you guys hear me now? Audio test, 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 test. All right, Patrick here at allday8.com, where I share my Japanese tips, cooking recipes, as well as gardening and travel tips. Today what I wanted to do was give you an update on my microgreen grow. So I sowed these seeds last Friday, or I think it was Wednesday. I was planning to harvest them 5 days after on Sunday, but I had dinner plans that changed. So this is how they look today. They're overdue for a harvest. As you can see, some of them are tipping over, and some of them have actually started to grow an additional leaf set. So you can harvest microgreens as soon as you see 2 leaves pop up. So you can see there's pink stem, green stem, and then purple stem. And today what we're going to be doing is we're going to make a really quick salad. It's about as fresh of a salad as you can get. And we are going to be doing, I guess, just a quick harvest, and then I'll show you how to make the salad. We're going to be using mentsuyu, which is a Japanese noodle soup base, and a little bit of nori, or Japanese dried seaweed, and daikon radish. So this is the actual plant or the root that you'll get if you allow these sprouts to grow. So this is how big it gets, but we're going to cut it off and not let it grow. So we're going to use some of this, about a ½ pound. And let's see, any questions before we start? I guess question of the day, have you guys ever used daikon radish for a salad before? It's pretty common in Japan, and it's one of my favorites because it's so healthy and it's so fresh tasting. So we're going to use about a half. This is about 6 inches long, and oops, we're going to peel this and then cut it into little matchsticks. So I know I sent you guys some seeds earlier this week, and you know what happened? Today, the post office returned them. They said I had insufficient postage, so I sent them out again after I added a stamp. So you should be getting those in a few days. Nice little surprise in the mail. Hopefully you guys will get to grow some of those tomatoes and the other herbs that I sent you. I also sent you some pepper seeds. I hope that you enjoy those. Some of my favorite. So let's see. What else should I say? So if you've never used mentsuyu before, this is the same stuff that they use for udon, soba, which are Japanese soup noodle dishes. You can also have it as dipping sauce. So there's many different ways that you can use it. You can actually make it from scratch. It's not too hard. If you want to make it from scratch, what you would use is dashi. So that's the katsuobushi, which is a dried fermented fish, and a kelp-based stock. So you can make that from scratch pretty quickly. It only takes about 30 to 40 minutes if you're fast. And it's very different from what do you call it? A traditional beef or chicken stock, which you have to cook for hours and hours and hours. Japanese stock comes together really quickly. So if you want to do that, you can start with dashi. You can also go, if you start with dashi, you have to add soy sauce, maybe a little bit of mirin, which is a alcohol-based condiment with a little bit of sugar in it. You can also add sugar on top of that and maybe sake, depending on the recipe. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to cut these into little matchsticks. I'm first slicing them, and then we're going to cut them up into smaller matchsticks, which are going to be about 2 inches long and about 1/4 inch thick. So this will give us a nice crunchy texture. These sprouts are also crunchy, and these are also a little bit spicy too. So these will give it a little kick. These will give it a little bit of a crunch, depending on the season. So the radish is typically, also depending on the way that you cut it, the radish will taste different. So if you cut it with the grain, it's supposed to taste less harsh or less, spicy. Also depending on the season, like I said, I think the radishes are sweeter. I forgot if it's summer or winter. One of the seasons is going to be a sweeter radish, and one is going to be spicier. If you know, let me know and leave me a comment. So those are some interesting radish facts. And let's see. Let's go ahead and cut this up. Doesn't need to be exact. We're just going to do it really rough. And this is about as, I don't know if you can get any more farm to table than this. I also have here on my left side, if you can see, I think you can see, this is mizuna. So these are Japanese leafy greens. They look a little bit like arugula, but as you can see, the stem is super long. So these are, I grew these on my balcony hydroponically, so that means with no soil. And I have a lot of it growing, and so I'm trying to use it up before I leave on my trip. So I'm going to be making some pasta later on, and I'll record that as a video and post it in a few weeks when I get a chance to edit it. So I'm just doing this really, really coarsely here. And this salad tastes better even the next day because the daikon doesn't get soggy like some vegetables do. And the kaiware might get a little bit soggy, but you'll still get a nice crunch from the daikon radish. So I'm just slicing this up as thin as possible. All right, it's good enough here. So this is about three cups worth. Just going to do a little bit more. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add in, oops, flying daikon radish there. We're going to add in this sauce. So this is actually concentrate. You might want to dilute it depending on the, I guess, the saltiness that you like. But if you were to make it from scratch, no dilution is required. So this is kind of like the chicken stock, or better than bouillon, if you use that in your cooking. Good question. So the flavor of mizuna is actually kind of like arugula, but arugula is a lot more peppery. Like this is more, I would say, spicy. And it tastes like the stems don't have too much flavor. I would say arugula has a stronger flavor. And this tastes almost like lettuce, a lettuce leaf. But it's different. I guess you can compare it to romaine lettuce, so maybe like strands of romaine, because you know romaine's nice and crunchy. So these stems are nice and crunchy. So in Japanese you'd say shaki shaki, which means it's like the sound that this makes. You might even be able to hear it. Let me put it close to my mic. Can you hear that like crunching noise? Sounds like twigs breaking. So that's the texture, and that's how I would describe the flavor. And okay, so this is enough radish, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all this Kaiware Daikon. It's going to be beautiful because these radish sprouts have different colors. So it'll add a lot of color to the dish, and it'll add a nice kick as well. So the good thing about microgreens is that they grow so quickly. It's like instant gratification. You know, typically with gardening, like vegetables, you have to wait at least like 2 to 3 months before your first harvest. But with these microgreens, all you got to wait is like 5 days and you can eat it. Doesn't get any better than that, does it? If you know of plants that you can plant and harvest and eat within that time frame, let me know. I would love to know. All right. So again, there's different methods of growing microgreens. You can use coconut coir like I did here. You can use potting soil. There's other mediums. They have sponges like what you might see at the market. Usually these come in a tray where there's like some sort of a white sponge underneath that they've been growing on. And they do quite well. And these are different from sprouts if you're a sprouter, because you don't eat the seed. So when you grow sprouts, you eat the entire thing, right? But for microgreens, you cut off the bottom part. And so that's what we're left with here. So here's my harvest. All my hard work, it wasn't really hard work at all. It was just planting the seeds and then harvesting it. Super easy and super delicious. So I'm just rinsing them off. And if you want to see how long they are, they're only about 3 inches long. So I'm going to get the excess water out. And we're going to mix it up in here. And I'm going to toast some seaweed. So this is Nori, Japanese dried seaweed. You failed terribly last time. Yes, microgreens are very delicate. They're very delicate because they're so thin. So as soon as you cut them, you got to use them right away, because after you cut them, if you just leave them sitting out, they'll wilt. Also, if you let the whatever you're growing on, if you let that dry out, they'll start to tip over as well. And depending on how far along they are in their growing, they may recover or they may tip over. So they do require special attention because of that. But the good thing is you can grow them indoors, so you don't have to grow them outside. I just grew these by my window inside, and they'll do just fine. They don't need any strong sunlight. So maybe that's something that you can try next time. So I'm just going to toast these just like you would a tortilla, very quickly on an open flame. And this helps to bring out the flavor. You got to be careful and you got to do it quickly because nori will burn very, very easily. And it smells like burnt hair. So get this nice and toasted, and then I'm just going to fold it, and then we're going to cut it into little matchsticks, just like we did with the daikon. I'm going to fold it one more time, and this is just one sheet. It was probably about, I don't know, 8 inches by 8 inches worth. So pretty quick for a salad. We're just about done. We're going to throw on the sauce and mix all these ingredients together, and then we can eat it. So I like to eat these microgreens with my sushi when I make my sushi at home. It's also good with pasta. You can have actually another version of a Daikon Kaiware sprout microgreen salad on my blog that I made a while ago. It's with tuna and mayo. So it's a little bit heavier in that regard because it has mayo. And today we're doing it very nice and light. So I'm just going to put, this is concentrate, so I'm going to put about 2 teaspoons worth. I'm going to put in a little bit of water because it's concentrate. Put in about 2 teaspoons worth of water. And we'll just mix it up and have a taste. So I'm going to have I have my little plate here ready to go, so I can take some pictures later and post it to my site. This reminds me of jicama. Today I sliced it really thick, so it reminds me of jicama. If you've never had jicama before, it's another white, crunchy vegetable. I don't know if it's a root or not, but daikon has a lot more flavor than jicama, so jicama could be a good substitute, I guess, now that I think of it. All right. So here's how it looks. Smells like nori and radish. And I wish I had more of the purple stem. You can see the purple stem kaiware were lagging. Not all of them sprouted. But oh well. I think I'll just grow those separately next time, because the first time I tried to grow them, they also lagged. But anyways, the salad is done. This is how it looks. This is probably enough for 3 or 4 people, just as an appetizer. And let's go ahead and taste it. so it's very light. Might poke your eyes out with the chopsticks. Maybe you can wear goggles. Goggles might save you from poking your eyes out. But yeah, you could eat this with a fork too. Don't need to use chopsticks. It's just easier for me since I'm used to using them. But yeah, oh man, these microgreens are spicy. I forgot how spicy they are. It's almost like eating wasabi. Once you start biting into it, it goes up into your nose, you know, from the back of your mouth, kind of like horseradish. That's the flavor there. I'm actually going to put a little bit more mentsuyu on. Needs a little bit more flavor. So yeah, goggles and chopsticks keep you from your eyes getting poked out. You could use a fork as well. But yeah, this is my Kaiware Daikon Salad with mentsuyu. Super easy to make. And very healthy too. So now I'm going to go ahead and cook this pasta, but as for today's live feed, that'll be it. I actually put the recipe below this video in the description, so it's already there if you want to refer to it. I also have a time lapse that I linked to from a previous grow. It's a 5-day time lapse, so you can watch these little babies grow from seed as they search for sunlight. They wave and they move around. It's pretty miraculous looking. And for this grow, I actually did another time lapse. I haven't had time to put it together yet, but I will be posting that in the next few days. So stay tuned for that. And thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out and watching me make my little Daikon Kaiware salad. I hope you guys get a chance to try it. And I hope that the seeds arrive safe and sound to you in the next few days. Other than that, I think that will be it for today. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.